So today I'm going to get in my autumn crops. It seems a little bit strange when it's still so hot to start thinking about our cool season crops here in the subtropics of Australia, but we need to get these things in, otherwise we're going to run out of time before it gets too hot again. If you're new here, I'm Nikki and I'm on a mission to grow as much food as I can on our regular suburban block here in the subtropics of Australia. Each month I plant a small bed of staples, things that turn over in around 3 to 4 months, so I've always got something to harvest. So this is the bed that I'm going to be using. I've still got some tomatoes in here, I've got some fennel, basil, I've also got this cosmos, which I am actually going to leave, but I had planned on using one of the larger beds out the front, but because I still have the Madagascan climbing beans still growing in there and it's just put on a new flush of flowers, I'm going to leave that a little bit longer and I might use that for garlic later in the month. So anyway, I need to clear this bed out and give it a top up with compost before we get planting. Normally I chop off at the roots, but with tomatoes I don't, and with fennel I don't as well, because fennel reshoots. So if I wanted it to reshoot, I would just chop it off, but I actually, as you can kind of see here, there is some reshooting already. I actually don't want it to reshoot, so I'm just going to pull it straight out. I feel loath to do this because the flowers of fennel are just so good and beneficial. I am just going to chop off the basil though. So I still have a few things in here. Obviously, as I said before, I've got celery and I do have kale and I do have the leek. Leeks take forever. I'm going to leave the leek in. I'm also going to leave the cosmos, but I'm going to relocate these because I just want this space for my broccoli and cauliflower. Not sure how deep these are going to be. I just lifted up this kale and there are heaps of those little greenhouse cockroaches. There's a big one there. Well, they are the bane of my existence. I'm gonna grab a chicken and put it in here. Oh, here we go. Come on. Find them. Eddie, no. No. So these are my preferred method of compost bins. Unfortunately, there is no easy way to really get the compost out other than pulling them apart. You can kind of do them in situ in garden beds and just pull it off and then scrape it over, but real estate is precious here for our garden beds. We want to use as much space for growing food. So this compost has probably been working for about 4 months. And we do have the problem with the tree roots getting in here, so there'll be heaps of tree roots. Look how much, it was full when we finished. Look how much it's gone down. It's crazy. So this is, I just sieve my compost with a homemade little sieve that I've made, which is just some mesh on a dodgy frame of leftover fence palings. And I just sieve everything out, get all the large chunks, and then I just chuck it back into one of the other compost bins. It just means that it's a bit finer when you're working with it in your garden. You don't have those chunks. You don't have to do this, but I prefer not having the big chunks, especially when I'm going to be planting things like carrots. You can see here all of these fine roots. That's what I was dealing with in these garden beds before I turned them to wicking beds. They would just go through there and suck everything out. All these big chunks into a bucket. And pick out the bits of plastic as I go. There's always a bread clip or a fruit sticker. Wing is doing an amazing job. Thank you, Wing. It is curl grub season, so I don't really care too much about them in the garden beds, but pots, they can do a lot of damage. because they eat the roots, but chickens love them. There's a lot in there. Oh, don't want you. There's another one. So here's my compost all sieved. If you wanted to go finer, you definitely could use a proper compost sieve. Oh, these greenhouse cockroaches, swear to God. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of my nutrients in here. So I've just got a bit of a goodie mix, and then I'm just going to mix it on and then put it straight on top. So Wing decided she'd had enough, so she's not going to be able to help me in this process. But I'm just going to add this here. It's just a mix of blood and bone, dolomite lime, rock minerals. I've got some biochar in there, and potassium, potash, however you say it. So I'm just going to give that a mix through. Because we use a lot of our chicken manure in our compost, it's usually pretty good by itself, but it's just because I plant so intensely, I do need to give my compost a bit of a boost. So normally I actually get 2 barrel loads out of my compost bin. That one actually did shrink down quite considerably, but this is enough for 1 garden bed. Normally I can do 2, but this one will not stretch that far, and I aim to put about 2 centimeters of depth when I reset my beds of homemade compost. She's done a pretty good job. She did pull up the little onion that had resprouted. So we do no dig, which is why I've layered it on top and I haven't dug it in, but the ground does still get quite compacted, so it's always good to give a little bit of just a wiggle, just to loosen it up a little bit. I mean, you could do this naturally with things like daikon radish, or if this bed was one that I did a chop and drop, I wouldn't need to do this, because naturally, as the roots break down once the plant's dead, it creates those air pockets. So this is what all of these chunky bits look like. And I probably could have sieved it and gotten the finer stuff, but it's really good to sort of activate your next batch of compost. So that's what I do, just add it, and then that kicks that one, which I've been adding to for the last month, into gear. So we're going to be doing some direct sowing this month, as well as planting our broccoli and cauliflower that we planted out back in late January, early February. So we've got baby spinach, some Asian greens, so bok choy specifically. I've got some snow peas and some carrots. So this bed is 1 meter wide here by 1.2. I do have to consider the shade that is coming from the corn on this northern side. So this is our southern side here where the trellis is. Normally I usually have my trellises on either the southern or western side, so depending on what I want to do, whether I want to protect it from that afternoon sun or whether I want my bed to get a lot of sun, I'll put it on the southern side. So what I am going to do, because I have a fence on the eastern side, it's pretty much shaded until the sun is directly overhead anyway. So I am going to plant my tallest things on the eastern side and go down to the things that need the most sun on the western side. So it's, when in laying out, it is just about figuring out where you're going to get the most amount of shade and what things need it and what things don't. if you are dealing with a lot of shade, stick to leafy greens. They do really well over winter. Things like your root vegetables and your fruiting things do need that sunshine. So I'm going to start with a row of carrots. Then I'm going to do my spinach, then the bok choy. So the bok choy will, all of the Asian greens really turn over very, very fast. Then I'm going to do a row of cauliflower and a row of broccoli. And on the edge of the trellis is where my snow peas go. Okay, so I need to get a little bit of space there. So I still do have 2 seedlings in each of these, and normally I would chop off one, but I am going to leave it in because of those greenhouse cockroaches. And I do bury these seedlings right up to that first set of leaves. I do also have these lettuce. I think these are the little gems. I'm going to put a few in and around. They'll finish before they get going. It's always handy just to have lots of lettuce around. Giant snow peas. 2 seeds per hole in between these trellis pieces, so it's really only going to be 4 plants. This bok choy line is going to be very close to these broccolis. Normally wouldn't do it that close, but because they will grow quite fast, you could also put these in seed trays and plant them out. Another for the spinach. Again, you could raise the spinach in seed trays, but I'm just doing a direct sow here. Just doing about 4 seeds every 5 centimeters. Now, the carrots, I am going to go get a seed raising mix to put these down. I think the hardest part about getting carrots to grow is getting them to germinate, particularly when it's still very hot. The problem is if they get wet, then they dry out, they're not going to germinate. So you need to keep the moisture up to them, and I usually pop some shade cloth over the top of them. You could use a piece of timber. So I'm going with the all seasons. It's quite a standard variety. Can get quite big. If you struggle to grow carrots, I recommend growing the Karuta variety. And I'm just going to, might do 2 rows. Let's just pull them all out. So I sprinkle them in quite densely because carrots, as I said, if they dry out, they will not germinate. So it is just covering bases, I guess. And I'm going to cover them again with more seed raising mix. So my camera overheated, and I think I got everything in except for the watering in and just covering this with a shade cloth. So I've just covered the carrots there just to keep the moisture underneath and gave everything a really good water in. Normally I would cover this bed completely in a shade cloth, but it is actually quite overcast today, so I'm just going to leave it, and everything should settle in pretty well unless the sun decides to come out and scorch everything. We'll see how we go. So this is everything that we planted last month, which was probably only about 2 or 3 weeks ago because I was a bit late with my February video. So I think a lot of I will thin out all of these cabbages, so there's only 2 And same with the kale. This is a mix. There's a whole heap of mixed ones, so I'll just check to see. You can kind of see that one would be a red Russian. That one there's probably dwarf Siberian. So I'll go through and just do a little bit of a cull of all of those. Same with the beets as well. So the Great Lakes, I think they got a bit too hot. We didn't have a great success with this. You can actually see, I actually think if you can see here, I think the head came off my watering can and I washed away the seeds on these ones here. And some of them just got cooked when it got really hot. Everything else survived pretty well though. I do have some leftover broccoli and cauliflower, which I'm really hoping we get the aquaponics up and running soon so I can get those in. Otherwise they're just going to be spares, but what I think I will do is upgrade these so they're in proper potting mix, not this dodgy seed raising mix. So coriander eureka, which is a slower-ish bolt one. They're all going to bolt because they have a defined timeline. So I am just using regular potting mix this month because I am sort of sick of how slow things grow with the seed raising mixes. So we will see how that goes. So this is just the Waltham broccoli. 4 seeds per hole. I will top it off with the seed raising mix though. Just not that it's any better. It has the biggest clumps in it. Clumps of butt. Look at that. Just pop those in now. So to prevent what happened last time where I deluged and washed away all of my lettuce seeds, I'm just gonna water from below here. And I'll grab my hose and put the misting option on just to get the top of that a little bit damp. Mist. And that's it. Done for another month. If you want to follow along with me, I do have a bundle of seeds on my website that has everything that I'll be planting over the next 3 months. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you guys next time.